Hello world and welcome back to another Immersive Engineering tutorial where today it's time to upgrade your base. So we're all familiar with the blast furnace. You put iron in, some coal coke in, you get a bit of steel and slag out. But how about we upgrade this and make it faster? If you take your first bits of steel, this is what I recommend you do. You make some steel plates, destroy your blast brick. You're going to need all 27 bricks, so make sure you have 27 plates first. One brick, one plate gives you one reinforced blast brick. It's only one, unfortunately. And then you build the exact same structure. And when you put a hopper on top in the center, you end up getting something like this. So let's demonstrate that now. So here we have our 3x3x3 structure of reinforced brick. We have a hopper on top in the center, and then we just right click the center block here on any side, and this will give us our reinforced blast furnace. It's actually its own sort of block now, and you can walk close to it despite the fact that it's a 3x3. Looking at the reinforced blast furnace, if you right click on the inside, you can see that everything works the exact same. There's no external power. Again, you just put in iron ingots and coal coke. You get steel at the top and slag at the bottom. But on the side here, you also have preheaters, because you can actually make this run faster by heating it up externally. But for now, let's just have a look at the side. You can see we have all these ports around every single side of our blast furnace. We have chests on the front and the back. At the front is going to be your steel output, which is the top slot of your blast furnace. And on the back, we have our slag output, as you can see here, which is our bottom part of our blast furnace. But as well as that, we've got three more ports. We've got one on the left and the right, and we also have one on the top as well. Now the left and the right, what we can do here, this is where our preheaters are going to go. It's a separate block. We're going to show that off very shortly. And on the top, we actually have our inputs. It doesn't matter whether you put coal coke in the top or iron in the top, it will go into the right places. However, you cannot just drop your iron straight into the top. You either have to have a dropper conveyor belt, or you have to go through a hopper just like this. Put another hopper in and then it increases. Let's just demonstrate that. But if we take all 29 and then we just drop them on top, we can see that it will slowly start disappearing, and they are now inside of our blast furnace. So to make our blast furnace heaters, we're first going to actually have to make the block external heater. For this, you're going to need a copper core block, 4 iron ingots, 3 copper ingots, and 1 redstone dust, and this will give us our external heater. Now, just as a quick tutorial, the external heater is a way of powering our furnaces without fuel. So at the back here, I've just got a creative power block powering up our external heater, and if we take ourselves some iron ore inside our regular vanilla furnace, we can see that we've got no fuel in here. But when we actually turn this on, our external heater heats up, and then things start smelting. And I think it's quite quick. It's quicker than if you were actually using coal as well, and obviously this is just going to keep going for as long as you have power. But then moving on, to actually make our blast furnace preheaters, we're going to take obviously one of these external heaters and then 7 iron sheet metal, just in sort of this trouser shape, I suppose, and you get one of these blast furnaces. Now you're going to need 2 of these in total. As you can see, we've got 1 on each side. So when you place it down, it will face it away from you, so you want to be directly facing it first and then placing it down, as you see like this. Now they have power ports on the top, as you see here. They don't have any interface, but we're just using creative power in order to heat it up. Now inside, everything works the exact same, except as you can see, we don't have any coal coke in here, so we do actually need to still use coal coke. It's not like the external heater where it can make it work. Now the difference here is that when you actually activate this, you can see that these lights are, well, if there was no fire here, these would actually turn off, but as soon as you actually put anything in, these lights will turn on, meaning the preheaters are working. Now, at first, you can see that this is a lot faster than without using the heaters. However, the longer you actually start doing the steel generation, the quicker it will get. So the longer this is running, the more preheat it will go into this and the faster it will get. So you want it to be constantly running, otherwise you're going to be starting from scratch. Moving on from the quick steel creation, how about we go into ore duplication? And that is by using the crusher. The crusher is made up of 5 different parts. We've got steel scaffolding, light engineering block, redstone engineering block, steel fence, and a hopper, or a couple of hoppers. The crusher is going to turn any dust in the game into any ore in the game, into 2 dust. It's also going to kill mobs. If any mobs get in the top part of it here, then they will die, but the drops will be, you will be able to get the drops. But if anything gets dropped into the top of it and it cannot be processed, those items will be destroyed. So say something, I don't think diamond dust is really a thing in Immersive Engineering, so if you dropped a diamond in the top of this crusher, it will just be destroyed. So using the projector, this is going to be the crusher that you have to make. It's a 3x5 structure, and then to actually activate it, you want to be on the front side of your crusher, meaning the redstone engineering block is facing you, and you want to look at the direct center steel fence and right click, and then that'll give you your crusher. Now looking at the crusher, we have a few different parts to this. The first being our crusher itself. Anything that gets dropped into the top of here is something that is going to be cut up essentially. So if we drop in our iron ore here, it's going to be quite loud, but you just drop this in here and it will start going. Now there's no interface when it comes to the crusher, but the more power you give it, the faster it will actually crush. Now there's only one power point and it's on top of here, as you can see. There's nothing on the back, and then on the front we have our export. So we just have a chest here, so it automatically directs in, and this is what we have. You can see that I've already thrown ourselves a sheep in here, and it's given us some raw mutton. As well as this, as you can see, I've only been throwing iron in here, but we are getting some little byproduct of nickel, which is something cool. You can sometimes get a little bit of a byproduct. Now, as well as that, as you see, we got it running. You can put a switch on it and you can turn it on and off. And then if you wanted to, you can, with a screwdriver, right click on the controller and it will invert the redstone. So now the lever works the other way. So now let's actually start sending some people to their death. So sheep can go in. You can see that there isn't actually an animation, but they are dying, unfortunately. But it is giving us our raw mutton and the wool as well. So now we know how to tackle ingredients that are in the ground, but how about things that are on land, like when we're getting into wood? This is the sawmill. The sawmill is something I have recently come across, as it wasn't in later versions of Immersive Engineering. Now, the sawmill is made up of steel scaffolding, light engineering blocks, iron sheet metal, heavy engineering blocks, redstone engineering blocks, and conveyor belts. As well as that, you will need a saw blade in order to actually cut things up, but it's not actually needed for the build. Now, the saw blade, it can turn logs into strip logs and then turn these strip logs into planks. But if there is no saw blade, then it will just continuously make strip logs and nothing else. Every single rotation or every single craft will generate sawdust as a byproduct as well. Now here we have our sawmill structure. It's very, very simple to make. It's just a 5x3 structure, but when you make this, make sure all your conveyor belts are facing the right direction, otherwise sometimes it could be a bit buggy. And to activate it, you just want to right click on this little center iron sheet metal here, and it will turn it into the sawmill. Now again, there are many different parts when it comes to the sawmill. For one, we have the saw here, as you can see, but when I crafted it just a second ago, there was no saw blade in this. That is because you need to make the saw blade just like this. We covered this in our mining drill and buzzsaw episode, so go check that out in the cards right now. And in order to actually install it, you just want to right click on your machine, and to get it out, you want to shift right click, as you can see there. We'll show you without our saw in first. We have our power point on the back here. This is the only power point that you can actually get. On the side here, we have got our inputs. Now you can either feed this with a hopper like I am, you can throw down blocks by yourself if you want, or you can actually have a conveyor system link up to it. On the end, if you don't have any sort of conveyor belt, hopper or chest, the item's just going to pop over the end. This is why we have a chest here for things to just go inside. And then on the front here, we actually have our byproduct, so all sawdust goes in this bottom chest. So just as demonstration, what we'll do here is we'll put ourselves in some oak logs. They'll start being placed on, and they will be just turned into stripped logs and continue going, as you can see here. Whenever they go through this curtain, they will just turn into stripped logs. Unfortunately, there's no sort of sound effects for this, but this is how it works. Strip logs are coming into here thick and fast, and at the front here, we are getting sawdust slowly over time. But now if we want to actually cut these into planks, we just hold right click, we just place our saw blade in there. Still no sound effect, unfortunately. And as you can see, it turns into stripped first, and then it turns into planks. And the planks do come in the timesing of 4, so it's very, very quick for things to get through. As I say, as well as that, you don't have to place all your blocks just like this. You can actually throw them directly on top if you wanted to and had nothing automatically set up. Now the last thing is that, of course, this can have a lever on the front of here to turn it off and on again, and then of course with a screwdriver you can right click to invert your power, and as you can see, it's not always running, and now it is always running. Now using the sawdust, it's very, very cool. You can take 3 of these sawdust to make yourself some paper, and you actually get 6 paper from each of these, so you've got no need for a sugarcane farm anymore. Well guys, that is everything I have to show you today. It's just a shorter one today, but this is a little way of upgrading your base to something a little bit more advanced. But next time we are going to be covering the excavator, a way of automatically getting ores out of the ground. It's going to be very, very powerful and a good way to automate your base right from the get-go. But if this video helped you in any way, shape or form, please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And ring the bell button to get notified for when all these tutorials go live. But until next time, guys, take care.